Okay, welcome back to the Success Framework. Today, now, whenever it is in space and time, what we're going to go through is purpose. This is one of my favorite parts of the process of setting a direction. More than anything, you get a ton of reusable content from this. Now, it was lost on me until I filmed some of the later content in the Success Framework that I realized how important this is, especially when it comes to marketing, when it comes to brand, and when it comes to your operating model. The work we're doing now is infinitely reusable. The stories especially, but how that bleeds into the social presence you build, the content you want to produce, the way you inspire and connect with staff and future employees. So I'm really excited to share this one with you. The reason why I like it is we're going to look at writing your stories. We're then going to do what's called affinity mapping and identify the themes. And in identifying the themes, we're going to uncover your purpose. It's my belief that your purpose exists present in all of your history. And we're going to identify that history today and now. The observation I've made running this process at the individual level and for founders and leaders is once it's complete, you have a really clear direction underpinned by amazing values, your core values. Where they are wrong or where you can't find clarity or where it doesn't seem right, that's a whole nother problem. It's a whole nother ball game, and I highly doubt that's what we'll discover here. But it is the type of thing that if it all just seems wrong, reach out, connect with me, and we'll come up with something to solve it. With that in mind, though, what we're going to do is we're going to help you set your direction. And we're going to start by doing activities. We're going to spend time reflecting, and then you'll eventually take some action. And really the outcome from this section is you're going to have 1 to 3 stories about the wins you've experienced in your life, the losses you've experienced in your life, the change and tension. Once you have those stories and you have your themes within the stories, that's where the gold is. So you can, as we've been discussing, use your purpose worksheet. You'll see some examples and like there's your worksheet to do the work on, some personal stuff, another worksheet, some more focusing stuff, purpose ideation worksheet. So you get it. You've got a tool to write all this down, or maybe you've just got a notepad or you're using a piece of software. Okay. Purpose drives direction. Direction is where your business is going. So let's get into it and experience what it's like to start building out a purpose statement. What we're going to focus on is both personal and professional experiences that you've had. The activity we're going to do is we're going to go through wins. So when I say wins, I mean your wins, others' wins that you've been a part of, or community wins. Anything that represents a great win, a great success, something that was celebrated that you've experienced in your life. Then what we'll do is we'll look at losses. So losses could be something you regret, maybe something was done to you or something that you've done. It's really important that you're not sharing these stories at this stage with anyone. This is just for you in developing your purpose. Candid, honesty, completeness is going to be your friend. I say that because I've stuffed up in my career. I've created losses for others. I've been a shit person at times. Been a great person as well. But I think it's in those stories, being honest and, telling the full truth is the gold. And so, yeah, just be honest, tell the truth, be detailed, And that's going to make this be a really effective process. The more truth and the more honesty and the more courage you display in doing this activity, the better the outcome. And I appreciate that as I say that this is a business course, this is for your business, but I promise you an authentic and honest person is going to generate a better business outcome for their customers, their staff, for themselves. So stick with me. Yeah, I'm rambling. I'm okay with that. This is who I am. Change that was forced, change that you've chosen, or change that was instigated by yourself or someone else. Tension could be tension between a values conflict, tension between friends and family, colleagues or customers. It could be tension in your environment, tension where you're living, that sort of thing. And so we're going to consider all of these. We'll then have a look at your career. So career is second, personal life is first. So I think I'll just give it to you this way. We're going to do it in 4 sections. You're going to use your timer, and the objective is, so you're going to get an objective for now and some homework. You can choose to do it all right now, or you can start the process and just get an outcome and then iterate on it. I'll leave it up to you, but I'll give you the content that allows you to facilitate both. So what we're going to do is, in a moment, I'm going to ask you a question. You'll pause the video. You'll do your writing. You'll then come back and we'll repeat the process. So we'll do it like this. In a moment, I want you to pause the video. I want you to go back to a time in your memory where you experienced an amazing win, some sort of personal success in your life that you're really proud of, that was yours. Maybe you were doing something with others. Maybe it was something to do with your community. But I want you to remember a time where you experienced a significant win. And so as you think that time, go back to that moment in your memories, step into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel what you felt. That feeling of winning. And now pause the video, go to your pen and paper, and write down all the key elements of that memory. It could be a statement around the story, a single paragraph. It could be a single word, whatever gives you enough information to recall all the parts of that story. So pause the video, write down all your wins, then come back. Okay. Repeat that process 2 or 3 times until you have remembered 2 to 3 wins and captured those thoughts, memories, emotions, states, all that detail. How much detail is up to you. Sometimes you might just write a single word, like book fair for me. I'll use a book fair example soon. That brings back all the memories, thoughts, and feelings. It is also really powerful. This could be your homework, or the thing you do now, is you write out in sentences or paragraphs all the details of the stories. So you could get a bit more descriptive. It's up to you. So pause, repeat that 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 win stories. Next, I'll do the elicitation. That way you can then be pre-framed, and then pause the video and write down your losses stories. Okay. So I want you to remember a time, a specific time in your past where you experienced a loss. Maybe you regretted it. Maybe you were filled with regret. Maybe something was done to you or done by you. And as you remember that time in your past where you experienced a loss, I want you to go back into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel the feelings of that loss. And then as you're looking through your eyes, pause the video, write down all the thoughts, feelings, emotions, and details of that story. Pause, 3 minutes, go. Okay. Now you can reuse that elicitation 2 or 3 times, get all your losses. Next, change. I want you to remember a time, any time in your life where you've experienced significant change. Change that was forced on you, change that you chose or maybe instigated. And as you remember that time in your past where you experienced change, I want you to close your eyes, step back into that memory, looking through your eyes, see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel the feelings of that change. And then pause the video and write down the memories, emotions, feelings, states, and details of each story. Pause the video, come back. Now that you're back, repeat that process 2 or 3 times. You should be getting it by now. Tension. I want you to remember a time in your life, in your personal life, where you experienced significant tension. It could be tension about values, tension between friends, family, tension in your environment. And as you remember that time where you experienced tension, I want you to go back into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel the feelings of that tension. And as you're in that moment now, I want you to pause the video and write down what you see, what you saw, what you heard, what you felt, the emotions, thoughts, feelings of that tension. So pause the video, write down what you find. Now that you're back, repeat that process 2 or 3 times for tension. The objective here is that you have reviewed in your memory 2 to 3 examples of wins, losses, change, and tension in your personal life. You'll have a collection of individual words, sentences, or paragraphs that capture the themes and parts of that story. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pause the personal life side of it. I'm going to come back to it. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to repeat this process, and I'll give you the elicitation for stories that come to mind about your career, about work, about your company, your whole career, everything that you've done since you first started working. And so in a moment, I'll do the elicitation for each. I'll do the words that'll allow you to get into the state. Once you're in the state, pause the video, write down everything as we've been doing. Here we go. Okay. I want you to consider your entire career, everything that you've done since you first started working. And a memory will come to mind about one of your best wins you've experienced in your career. And as you think about that time where you experienced a significant win, working with others, working in your job, I want you to go back to that time now. See what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel the feelings of that huge, fantastic career win. And as you're sitting in that moment, seeing everything, pause the video, write down all the thoughts, feelings, emotions, and states for that experience. Pause the video, come back. Now that you're back, repeat 2 or 3 times, get your 3 memories of wins. Next, we're going to do losses. Okay, here's the elicitation. I want you to remember a time in your career when you experienced a significant loss. Something that might have hurt, you might have lost something, you might have lost a deal throughout your whole career, you might have lost a friendship, a colleague, a job. I want you to remember a time where you experienced a loss in your career. And as you think about that time now, I want you to go back in your memory, jump into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel the feelings of the losses that you experienced. As you see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt, take note of the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, what's happening, and pause the video and write everything out. Now that you're back, repeat it 2 or 3 times. Boom. Next elicitation, change. I want you to remember a time in your history, your whole work history, where you experienced significant change. It could be change that was done to you, change that you instigated, whatever it is. And as you remember a time in your career where you experienced significant change, I want you to go back into that memory now. I want you to see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel the feelings of the change. And when it's time, pause the video and write down the thoughts, feelings, emotions, states you're in for that story. Pause the video, complete the activity. Now that you're back, Repeat it 2 or 3 times. Capture your change stories. Last one, tension. I want you to remember a time in your entire career where you experienced significant tension. It could be tension you've created between other people, between you and clients or the company you're with. And as you're thinking about that time where you experienced tension, I want you to go back into that moment now, see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel the feelings of tension. And as you're looking through your eyes, I want you to notice the thoughts, feelings, emotion, the events that are happening, and pause the video, write down everything you see, heard, felt, all the things that were happening, all the feelings and emotions. Pause the video and write that down now. Again, repeat the process 2-3 times, get all your wins, losses, change, tension stories, and I'll talk you through what we will do next. So here's a couple of examples. What I've got personally is about 10 to 20 stories for, it's probably more, for wins, losses, change, tension in my personal life and my career. And what that's given me is a whole range of stories that I can use in creating meaning for people. You can facilitate inductive learning, deductive learning. You can elicit emotional states, all that sort of good stuff. And so, like a couple of examples, super young version of Rob, and he was always entrepreneurial. And for year 11 and year 12, I never attended a business class. I just ran a business for the school. I was really lucky. I had an amazing teacher who got who I was. And he knew that sitting there doing paperwork on business was never going to be the thing that saw me get the result. So instead, he created a scenario where I was able to basically be an entrepreneur and pass my business course and run a business and literally get money in the backs of books. And that was where I got the chance to create the Canberra Antique and Rare Book Fair. And what was awesome about this moment was, yes, I was just allowed to be an entrepreneur and figure it all out. Yes, with some guidance, and yes, with a couple of people helping, but we just created it. But what was even more interesting was the trust that the teacher had given me to help facilitate this event. And so we went through the process. We developed all the flyers. We did all the advertising and marketing. We got on local ABC radio and discussed everything that we found, talked about all these antique and rare books, all that sort of good stuff, and had massive amounts of people show up and participate in presenting their antique and rare books. And also heaps of people show up, pay the cover charge, and look through the book fair. So we made money for the sellers. We made money by them showing up. We made money for the school. And I even got some really rare antique books with cash in the back to sort of pay for this thing that was never supposed to get paid for as a student. But I really wasn't. I was an entrepreneur in that moment. Now, what's the point of this story? I'm entrepreneurial at my core. I love running businesses. And so that was clear and present early on in my schooling. And so I can use that theme of entrepreneurial spirit to inform part of my identity, part of my purpose, to inform others about what's important to me by telling stories. So from here, what you should have is you should have your personal life wins, losses, change, and tension. You should have your examples that you've identified in your personal and professional life, and everything should be written out. The book fair is a career story, a personal example, tension. So uh, early on, actually, I shouldn't share this story. I shouldn't share this story because it gets a bit dark. What I'll tell you is very early on, I found out that I had a tumor, and fortunately, it was so early. I was so young when we found it that uh, you know, I ended up getting some surgery, and they took this tumor to test it. I then got to go travel to Vietnam for work for like 6 weeks. That whole time, my GP had said, yeah, you're fine. There's nothing wrong, but we need to wait on the specialist results. And so for 6 weeks, every single day, every single minute, there was this impending doom and fear of having cancer. And so that sort of sits over you. It's always present. It's this intense tension. But even though those thoughts were there, I was still calling my partner. I was still getting the job done, doing the work. I was still exercising. I was doing the work, even though that there's this intense fear boring into me. And it wasn't until I got home that the specialist's like, oh, yeah. It was a tumor. And we sort of asked the question, yeah, but like benign, right? He's like, no. It was a tumor, but we've taken it out. You're fine. You just got to come back every 6 months, then 12 months, whatever. And so it sort of culminated in this moment of like, shit, it was a thing. It's now not a thing, and we have a plan. And it doesn't matter what's happening. You still have to keep going. There was no choice or chance to just give up and stop. You just have to keep going. And you do the work, you make sure you heal on all levels, and eventually, for me, I was super lucky, took it out early, and and nothing more ever came of it. Years later, still doing tests, and there's nothing there. And so what? What might one infer from that experience? Resilience, the ability to work under pressure, the ability to work when there's tension. So this is the next piece of the puzzle. What I need you to do is I need you to review all your stories. And you may have written something down, or when you look at keywords, you may remember what that story represented. And as you review them, I want you to be thinking about what are the key threads, experiences, and influences. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take a break for about 12 minutes, and you're going to pause this video, and you're going to do some writing. You can break it into 3-minute sections, 1 12-minute section, however you want to go about it. Either way, time box it. And I want you to write out what are the key threads, the things that you easily remember about your past. So it could be doing sports, it could be going on adventures, it could be starting small businesses, it could be blogging, writing, doing film, photography, whatever it is. Then I want you to write out what are the experiences that come to mind when you think about your past. And finally, I want you to write out who are the key influences, the people that shaped who you are, like Graham that helped me run the book fair, or the authors of some of the best books ever, like Robert Greene, or Bernard, one of my early teachers who taught me it was okay to write poetry. Whatever it is, the goal is to write out the key threads, experiences, and influences. So time box yourself 3 minutes to each question, or 12 minutes in total. Write out everything that comes to mind. So pause the video. I'll see you back in a section. in a second. Yeah, I know that was recording. Welcome back. So what you should have now, right now, you should have come up with a list of threads, experiences, and influences. I mentioned Bernard, my dad. He doesn't care what people calls him. He just wanted to get the job done. 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene. Some experiences, the birth of my son, work, PTSD, doing the Hash House Harriers in Vietnam or Malaysia or wherever the bloody hell it was. Service, working in the Army, Department of Defense, law enforcement, concentrating, contracting, consulting, working in business and technology. These are all the threads, experiences, and influences. Well, not all that came up for me. You should have a list similar. Now we start to get to the final piece of why we're doing all of this. We have been doing all of this so we can affinity map and identify your core purpose. And all of this information allows us to do that. So what you should be able to do is you should be able to see on your piece of paper or on your document or wherever it is you've been writing all the key stories that have come to mind with as much or as little detail. What I want you to do is I want you to go through everything you've got there and circle all the consistent themes that you identify. This theme, that theme, whatever it is, circle all the consistent themes that stand out. Once you've done that, you'll then relist your identified themes somewhere on your workbook, somewhere on a piece of paper in your digital device. So pause the video for a moment, go through everything that you've written, circle all your themes, and then relist them in a brand new list. Pause the video, ready, set, go. Okay, welcome back. Similar to the point 3 on the page, you should hopefully have a bunch of themes that you've identified in all the stories that you've been writing. What you can do right now is you can take note of any themes that represent a core value that might have been missing. So, I mean, in my stories, there was some stuff around bullies and being principled. So maybe justice was a value. It talked about entrepreneurship, being friendly and collecting information and learning. Maybe there's wisdom, being easy to get on with, being confident, but being patient and accepting. Maybe temperance was a value. So you can identify some additional values. Regardless, in all the information you've written, you should be able to identify core and critical themes. And what we're going to do in a moment is I'm going to give you the template for writing out your purpose statement. Before I do that, let me give you an example. So for And Ward and for my customers and for me and everything that I'm doing, it is all about helping businesses, entrepreneurs, and driven individuals find out who they are, what they're here to do, and how to get there. And so right now, in this moment, me recording this, I am living my purpose because I am doing the work to help businesses, entrepreneurs, and driven individuals find out who they are, what they're here to do, and how to get there. This is my purpose, what I'm doing right now. Once you nail your purpose statement, you will always have a clear direction, and any work you're doing day to day, whether it's amazing or you're in the shit, you should be able to see your purpose present in it. And so this is your goal. This is what you're about to do. You're going to create something like what I just shared based on all the themes and information that you have captured in that self-reflection and analysis. You can use one of these two templates. You could say, my purpose is to blah so that I blah. You might also use, I think Simon Sinek had a good way of doing this as well. And so my purpose is to blah that allows or enables others to blah. So it's about what you're here to do so that something can happen. And so what I want you to do now is pause the video, take 7 minutes, start writing out your first draft purpose statements. Pause the video, come back when you're done. Welcome back. What you should have now is the makings of a purpose statement. Something like, my purpose is to help businesses, entrepreneurs, and driven individuals to find out who they are, what they're here to do, and how to get there. Something like that, using the templates that you were shared. This can be a work in progress. You don't need to get it perfect. You don't need to get it right. It takes many goes and many iterations. With AI, you can feed in this template and some simple prompting, come up with some versions to get you going if you're really struggling. I do have a configured GPT that if you want to get access to and you want to test out, just reach out to me on one of the channels and I can give you access and I can show you how to use it. Either way, you should have your first statement. So let's sum it up. What we've just done is we've completed your values and we've just completed your purpose. The reason why we do it in this order is values, your underpinning foundation, purpose, your direction, vision is all about identifying how far along the journey you are. It's giving you sort of those milestones along the way to check that things are on track. And so in the next video of the Success Framework, I'm going to take you through creating your vision, which further feeds your core direction of the company. So super grateful that you've participated in this video, that you've got to this moment. It truly is my hope that you progress, keep going, set a clear direction so we can really jump into the work around legacy, around vision, and then the what of your business. Everything we're doing now is the foundation. Everything else is built from this. So I'm really, I hope you're enjoying the process. I hope the elicitations are making sense, and I hope you're getting some words on paper. That's the most important thing. Progress, not perfection. So thank you. Rock and roll. I'll see you in the next video. All right. See you later.